Good afternoon, and welcome to the Sunshine Coast Regional District Finance Committee for Thursday, October 17th, 2024. It's 1:45 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that the Sunshine Coast Regional District is located within the territories of the Shishalt and Squamish Nations. Directors, we have an agenda in front of us. Are there any amendments to make to this agenda? If not, I would look for a motion to adopt as presented, please. Moved and seconded. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Can I also receive have a motion to receive all the reports, please? Moved, seconded. All those in favor? That's carried. And with that, we'll move straight into item 4.1, the MNP LLP 2024 Audit Service Plan, and we'll turn it over to our interim CAO to introduce.
Thank you, Chair. So this particular report is a correspondence and communication to the board as we undertake our external audit with MMP. This is a requirement of legislation for the regional district to have an external auditor review our financials. Outlined in the report is the elements that will be undertaken, so internal controls, various types of transactions, and essentially our financial statements. It does also outline the things that won't be undertaken. However, if there is anything that the board wishes to communicate with our auditors and would like to provide some questions, we do have our auditor, Corey Vanderhurst, who is a partner with MMP, who's the lead auditor for our file. So I'll take any questions if there are any. Thank you.
Thank you very much, CAO, and thank you, Mr. Vanderhorst, for being with us today. Directors, any questions for our auditor team? Fairly straightforward report, fairly straightforward process. It's not like we haven't seen this before. So directors, I would look for a motion for the recommendation on page 2, please. Moved, seconded, all those in, any discussion? All right, I will call the question then. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Vanderhorst. Until next time. All right, moving on, we have item 4.2. which is a status of reserves and holding funds as of August 31st, 2024. The report's here for information. Directors, if you've got any questions. Director McMahon.
Yes, in the main report on page 30, it references Parkland Acquisition and Development Cost Charges funds. But then when I look further, I don't see a Parkland Acquisition Fund, unless I missed something. I thought we did have a Parkland Acquisition Fund. Is it there and I didn't find it in all my searching, or is it not on the list?
I do. I'm just trying to, because it's one is horizontal and then the other one is. So Parkland Acquisition is on page 37 of the agenda. It's at the top there. And so there is just a little over 1.1 million as of the closing balance of September 30th for that one. And we also on that same sheet have development cost charges for our north, south, and regional water services.
Thank you for that. Any other questions from directors? I don't see any hands up. So with that, we will move on to item 4.3, which is the Canada Community Building Fund Community Works Fund update. And for those following along at home, this is the program that used to be called the Gas Tax Fund. And directors, this is a standard report for this committee to see. So I think staff will take any questions if there are any. Director McMahon.
Right. The report states that the eligible project categories have remained the same as the previous 10-year agreement, but in fact there have been some changes. And I would like to move that staff provide more information on the expanded scope of eligibility for our projects under the new CWF agreement.
Thank you. And you provided that wording to everybody this morning, so it shouldn't be totally out of the blue, I believe. And I did see a seconder for that. So directors, any discussion on this. This is Community Works funds, so this is going to be rural directors only, of course. I don't see any hands up, so I will call the Director McMahon.
I'll just elaborate very slightly. In particular, of course, I had Chester House in mind. My understanding was that previously we were not able to get any funding to repair the damages from the atmospheric river, but, you know, that is a climate-related thing, disaster mitigation. So maybe there's some more flexibility in the new agreement. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. CAO?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just to mention that as part of the budget and even as part of the carry forward projects, staff are doing a review of funding opportunities, especially with projects that have not started, as to whether or not there are some synergies with either new proposals or even existing projects to use the Community Works, because there is a requirement within the existing agreement that the regional district does have to look to plan and expend those particular funds. So we have to ensure that we're in alignment with that, and we'll provide more information during the budgeting process. Thank you.
Sounds like this is perhaps very good timing for this motion. Thank you, Director McMahon. I don't see any other hands up, though, so I will call the question. Rural directors, all those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is carried. Thank you very much. Anything else on this item before we move on in our agenda? If not, we will move on to item 4.4, which is the Sunshine Coast Regional District Q3 Corporate Financial Variance. Again, this is here for information, and so I would look to directors to see if there are any questions. And I don't see any hands up from directors. So with that, we're going to move on to item 4.5, which is the Gibsons and District Fire Protection Deficit. And I think we'll turn this over to our CFO for a very brief introduction.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So Manager Wing is on vacation, so I'm happy to take any questions on this one. This was a subsequent request out of the Q2 variance, as the Gibsons and District Fire was trending towards a deficit at that particular time. And so we have provided an update as far as more detail associated with the areas of, in particular within the operating budget, that is causing some variances this year. And there will be some more information during the 2025 budget. And again, GM Hall is here to solicit or answer any detailed questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Director McMahon.
Yes, I flagged this from a previous report just because the deficit is pretty significant, and it's fairly unusual. Despite the challenges of budgeting under the regional district model, most of our services come in, very, very close to on budget. So when something is significantly over budget, especially given that we gave it a base budget raise last year, it does concern me that there is some challenge going on with budgeting. So I don't know if staff have any further elucidation to offer or not. Maybe I'll stop there for now.
Thank you. CFO, is there anything you wanted to chime in on at this time?
No, I think there are some details about some specific areas where it has caused some deficits. So that's provided in the budget. And so again, we're working with the division and seeing what we can do to address that going forward.
Thank you. Director Stanford.
Yeah, I think the line that concerns me most is the factors driving these budget overages are not well understood currently. I mean, it is large for this department, but it's not large numbers. So this is why I'm concerned about why we can't seem to clearly state why or what is happening here, because it seems like they're spending too much. So it's not really a question. I'm just like to see more clarity on this, because it's not a one-off problem. We seem to be going into this hole quite a bit. So on this particular project or this particular department.
Thank you. Director White.
I'll defer, I guess.
Okay.
I was just going to move the recommendations on page 147 because this item will indeed be discussed at the Fire Protection Commission meeting.
Okay. I've got a mover for that. Do I have a seconder? Thank you very much, Director Stanford. This is an EF and Town of Gibson's function only. So this is EF and Town of Gibson's voting. Any other discussion? Director White, I see your hand up. Is that a residual?
No, yeah, I'll not for this motion. That's fine.
Okay. Then I will call the question then. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay. Director White, did you have something more?
I'd just like to move that we go in camera based on the language on the agenda here.
Okay. We have no communications. We have no business. New business. So motion that the public be excluded from attendance at the meeting in accordance with sections 91A, C, and K of the Community Charter. Moved by Director White, seconded by a host of directors. All those in favor? And that's carried. So just before we go in camera, I see Connie is here online. Connie, do you have any questions for us? You should be able to unmute yourself.
Yes, thank you, Chair Toth. I had a couple of questions about the variance report that I had submitted in advance through your communications department. Would you like me to relay those or get those relayed directly to staff rather than discuss them here? They were individual line items.
If they're individual line items, I suppose it was probably best if we follow up offline, but if you wanted to highlight them for the directors just so that the public following along knows what it is that you're looking at.
Okay, just a second here. It was on page 134 regarding function 615, community rec facilities, a 457% variance. Just wondering what that was. Page 142, community parks function, a 2% usage of budget, so a considerable variance there too. And function 370, I believe it's on page 104, regional water service. Just wondering if the other revenue included fine amounts, and if so, what percentage of that relating to fines was adding to that 319% over budget number.
Okay, let's take the last one first, Connie, because now that you've mentioned it, I would be curious to know the answer myself if staff are able to provide an answer at this time. Otherwise, again, we may have to follow up with you offline.
Okay, I'll mute myself now and wait for the answers.
Thank you.
We're going to have to take those offline, I think, and
Okay.
delve into them. Perhaps Manager Wing would have known them, but he's away on vacation today, so I don't have those here on hand. So we'll make sure to get back to you, though. Connie, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Connie. And we will be in touch. Okay. The attendees have all left. I can't see the confidence screen from here, so somebody will have to confirm for me that we have flipped in camera.
Chair, I'm just going to ask for a few people to leave, so if you just give us 1 minute, we'll get set up.
And since you're the chair, do you have to ask us if we're in a private?
That's a very good
We're on the
question.
reversal now.
Do you want
Yeah,
to start?
right. But I will confirm that my location is secure.
We're just having to make sure we're not on YouTube, Chair, so, and we still are, so one moment. The information. The question, Chair, was whether or not everyone should have voted on the variance for the Gibsons and District Fire. That one there's 3 participants, so those 3 participants participated in it. There's no impact to the financial plan. There's nothing you're moving impacting the financial plan yet. When you have to address or you have some funding decisions, that'll be everybody.
Okay. I'm glad that the confusion was cleared up for whoever needed it. Because yeah, we were referring a report to the Gibsons and District Fire Commission, so I felt it was a Gibsons and District Protection Service issue.
Chair, this is AT. I understand you're ready to go in camera.
Yep.
All right. I'm
And welcome back to the Finance Committee meeting for the Sunshine Coast Regional District for October the 17th. It is 2:44. Our meeting is done. I would look for a motion to adjourn, please. Moved and seconded. All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you very much. We'll see you all next time.